send it there.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Arthur time.
Arthur time.
Arthur.
Now, do me last while I make my case.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Matrim, what do you got for your Arthas?
Well, I wasn't thinking I was going to get much, but I might have 2 fate for pursuing 2 of my beliefs.
Okay.
I don't think. So with the issues with Bryansk wrapping up, my escort job is almost done as well. I should get back in contact with the organization to maintain a good relationship and possibly find their loot. So I think I pursued that with Wiggins.
Yeah.
Yes, you did. He is more of an agent of the organization than he first appeared.
Okay.
So yes, you.
Okay. I was thinking that was fate, not persona.
Yeah, that's fate. Yeah.
Okay. And the other one that I think is fate, just because I don't really think I have a clear idea yet, is the one about Lord Edwayne. Ernest thinks highly of Lord Edwayne, but all I see is a stuffy noble. I will gauge him to see if there is anything beneath the surface. I don't really. We had a conversation. I don't think I got a lot more information from him.
Like, you could have probed me pretty good there.
Yeah, I feel like I screwed you a little bit by pushing that along, that conversation, because there could have been, you could have pushed him for, if you're going to offer me, then I'm going to take the world, and
right.
we'll find out where your line is.
Yeah, there's that implication of, you just gave me an open-ended contract. I'm going to open-end it,
Yeah.
You didn't put a ceiling on that. Okay. Thanks.
We probably should have played that conversation out to its end where you actually got something.
I imagine we can just sit out with a haggling roll right now.
I didn't hear what you said.
I'd say it's fate, because you definitely tagged that belief with being able to, with having the opportunity to find a limit with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was sort of feeling him out, but I haven't quite.
Yeah, I don't think that particular instance would have personaed the thing. So yeah, just take the fate on it.
Yeah. And that's all I really think I got Arthur-wise this week.
So you ready yet, Ernest?
I am.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for my case, I would like to quote the following 2 passages from the Holy Book. To qualify for this reward, speaking of deeds, you must do something that benefits more than just the character, and do it for reasons other than personal gain. I believe that this session I have accomplished both of those. The second passage I'd like to quote from the same paragraph: hitching yourself to a cause that transforms the setting, but doesn't directly benefit you or your friends, is worth a deeds point.
What page is that?
65. But it did directly benefit your friend. I will point out that caveat there.
That is true. Ernest does not give a crap.
Yeah.
He cares what Path Askew in terms of a town, not in terms of a nation.
I feel like saving Path Askew is pretty good. You definitely single-handedly changed the setting. You won Bryansk decisively, and then you saved the Path Askew.
Well, let's see what are the different things that we've talked about this. It being a tale being told. I think that yes, me one-shotting a guy after this, yeah.
Yeah, a bard will probably sing of that at one point.
Okay.
I think I will give it to you. Just tell me how you suffered.
I think. How did I suffer with this?
Yeah, it also says it's got to hurt a little to attain this level.
Yeah.
Go ahead and.
So I don't. The fight itself
and tell us
was not what
you
suffered.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Go ahead and invoke a trait and tell you how the trait made your life worse by doing all this.
I invoke a trait. You said.
Yeah.
Um.
How did this make it worse for you? Like,
Okay,
I don't think
I'm actually having trouble
the deeds.
still hearing. I'm still having trouble hearing Golden.
sorry
that's why.
guys.
That's just breaking it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that the fight itself was not the thing that's deedsworthy. I think that ending the conflict peacefully is the thing that's deedsworthy. The risking himself in the fight is the hurting himself. It didn't end up hurting him, but it could have ended up killing him.
I still think that was all just personal level.
See, that's kind of where I disagree, because he has no reason to care about this war. He cares about the Pathsquad as a town, but
he cares about being seen as beyond just a continental, and that's what this does. And he is a loyal servant of Ed Wayne, so he wants to curry favor with Ed Wayne. And so the idea of doesn't directly benefit you or your friends, I think, is something that doesn't happen here.
See, I've always seen Ernest.
In addition to, I don't really think he sacrificed anything.
I've still always seen Ernest as someone completely detached from this war. Until the end with the poisoning thing, he hasn't cared. Not really. It's my phone. Someone's calling.
Yeah, like if you had like, tell us like next session like how that experience transforms Ernest's views about war, and how he suffers as a result of not destroying the Bryansk city, or something like that.
The poisoning, I guess, was how we would have suffered if he didn't destroy it. Because that was because we waited.
No.
But I stopped that as well.
No. Well, I don't think it's a deeds. I'm sorry. There's definitely persona goals stuff here.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
Well, I'm holding my vote till the end as if we need a tiebreaker. So what are the actual votes right now?
I think it's 2-0.
Knows.
Yeah,
I'm looking.
I think we're both no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's the weird thing. The example that they say doesn't say anything about hurting the players. It just says they could have taken power themselves and they gave it back to the rightful rulers.
I mean, could you actually have taken power yourself?
I'm using the example.
Right.
The example they mentioned does not mention them being hurt, or like.
Is this a group deeds?
No, if it's you all will be getting a persona point because you accomplished a goal that you've all been working towards. You ended the war with Bryansk. So that's a thing.
Oh.
But because I'm considering that a group goal, it seems like it has been for a couple of sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's a group deeds because if we had like won that and then like just given the city to the Duchess after all that and said the war is over, the city is yours, don't bother us anymore. Like that would have been deeds.
I don't agree with the idea of group deeds. Anything deeds worthy is like.
Yeah, if deeds only gets awarded to one person, like, yeah.
So like from that angle, I understand why Primarch is petitioning for it. I understand why we're talking about it.
Like he did the all the work.
I mean, such an accomplishment must come with some cost or sacrifice. Now, just so we can talk this out, what would have had to have happened?
I can't even think of anything.
Like what could have happened that would satisfy your requirements?
For a sacrifice?
Yeah.
Yeah, in your mind, if we were talking about this deeds and you were like, yes, that's definitely a deeds, what would have made it a deed?
Intentionally sustaining harm in the duel for some end that he explicitly said why his character would do that.
But that seems specifically like a personal thing. That seems small compared to the deed. And
well, no, that was like the sacrifice part, like
so just get him in the duel,
or if someone was trying to assassinate the Duchess, like stepping in front of the Duchess to get hit instead.
Okay.
Something like that. That's my level of sacrifice. That's what I'm using those examples for. Not quite deeds, but sacrifice.
Yeah. Are there any examples of non-physical harm that we can come up with? Like because the physical harm comes from die rolls. Like I don't think that a deeds point should ride on whether or not you passed or fail a die roll. It should rely on
another one would be
intention.
if Ernest gave up all his arms and decided to never touch him ever again.
Like if that horrendous experience...
War is so horrendous, I will never touch a weapon again. For some reason.
So an emotional cost.
Yeah.
Like because he killed that guy in one hit, he was like,
Right.
Yeah.
But both of them are
I don't even see how that's feasible because this war is more peaceful than wars he's done before. That was the whole... If it was a deed, it would be for ending the war peacefully. And then he throws away his arms because it was too violent?
Like, would Ernest, like...
Well, okay,
longer believe he should fight in a war? Like, as in, like, as a soldier? Does he believe that, like, soldiers are no longer, like, good things to have and everything should be handled, like, with honor and with duels?
The example I was giving were what Zen was asking for, examples of sacrifice that I would be like, that seems like a legitimate sacrifice to me.
Okay.
And so I'm using those examples irregardless of the rest of what would qualify for deed.
Yeah.
I'm
just trying to find out, like, hypothetically where the qualifier, where that line is. So, like, we can start shooting for it because I think we should have deeds-worthy stuff by now, and the opportunity has been there a couple times, but we really need to nail down, like, how to cross that line.
Right. Okay. Or like if Nico in the cave with Edwin reached out and pulled one of the orbs out and jumped into like the ice cave as that whole chop triggered, that would have been a sacrifice to me. Because he's sacrificing himself and the artifact so no one else can get it.
So here's the thing. We talked before about how it was stupid to sacrifice a persona point for a fate point. But it's definitely not stupid to do something suicidal and then spend a persona point so you survive it.
To get a deeds point?
To get a deeds point.
I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be a good use. That would be a good use of a deeds point if you or a good use of a persona point if you intentionally sacrifice yourself to qualify for the deeds and then say, nope, I don't die, here's my persona. I'm pretty fucked up, but I'm not dead.
However, you also have the option of earning Mold Breaker for the same action as for what earned you a deeds point. If it goes against, and you have to work out your beliefs.
It does go against
right.
The belief.
So you could even get your persona back.
Yeah. So
if it's a type thing.
Talking about this instance again, going forward, has the experience in the duel changed Ernest's his motivations? Like, is there any lasting effect on his personality from this situation that happened in the session? Like,
not the duel itself, because it wasn't about the duel for him. Never was. For him, it was about the war and making sure it ended peacefully. The goal of the duel was to keep things peaceful. If we split this session into 2 sessions, if the fight lasted longer, then I would have re-added the belief, which was about keeping the princess alive.
Right.
See,
He has changed, but not from the duel specifically.
Okay.
But yes, from the war.
from everything I saw reactionary after the duel, to me it seems like you were playing Ernest a bit cockier. Like
Yeah,
he's
he
almost
was.
untouchable at that point.
But
And that was
so
from the duel.
Yeah. So the point I'm making here is that, like, if there was an emotional toll that was taken on Ernest because of this, some thing in his brain just couldn't reconcile something. He started fucking drinking, shooting heroin, whatever the hell. Like that might be what triggers the deed point. Like
imagine
him-
if he had just been so upset after the battle that he got drunk, and then because he was drunk, he couldn't get to Path and Skew in time. Like,
yeah,
maybe
that's
if he
a
had been,
complication down the line.
maybe
It's-
if
That sounds
he
more like a
had,
trait thing.
like,
yeah,
taken part in the revelry and gotten so drunk that he couldn't get to Path and Skew.
That sounds like a trait fate point to me. If he had the trait.
yeah. I'm saying that, like, there needs to be a lasting emotional scar or physical scar if you're going to get a deeds point. It seems like that's the what I'm getting out of this conversation.
I'm looking for
it
the
also
part
seems like
where,
it's the hardest to
yeah.
get because it is. Firstly, you need to get some sort of victory for that, and then also have emotional scars, which is a rare case but possible. And also, the example does not do emotional scars; it just means they had power and handed it back to whoever was in charge of it.
Yeah,
Well, the
yeah.
sacrifice there was the power.
It was, but it doesn't seem as deep of a sacrifice as I hear
No.
being talked about.
But you didn't have power to give.
I'm not talking about. I'm just saying that I don't think that the emotional scars are a necessary thing.
They
Yeah,
might
no.
not be, but I'm saying that's a definite for me. That's an absolute yes vote for me if that's what was sacrificed for something.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
that's what the question was. What is, like, without question, a yes, that's worth the sacrifice. And to me, it's deeply emotional and physical trauma. Everything else, I'm going to have to...
or a
debate.
purely selfless act of some kind. Like,
Yeah. Where, like, you completely go against one of your, like, go counterintuitive to your belief for some sort of greater good that you explain in the process of doing it.
Okay.
You don't just do it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
I think I know what might need to change, which we'll talk about after off stream.
But I think there was still some Artha player-wise to give out.
You got
yeah.
tons of art.
Yeah,
To the
yeah.
other
Sorry
stuff.
to go off on a tangent. I'm just trying to, like,
I want my
need to-
deeds.
Yeah, so do I. I still think that I hit the deeds earlier, but whatever. So yeah, tell us about your bits.
Okay. Matrim has reminded me that many people here believe that those from the continent are unrefined and brutish. Now, with everyone watching two of us fight, I will show them that honor is not foreign to our people by killing Jefferson honorably. I don't suppose I killed him honorably, but I treated him honorably after. I didn't really interact with him much before that.
One hit to the leg
No,
that kills a
that's totally
guy
Persona.
screams fucking brutish to me.
No, that's not
But-
brutish.
But you did act honorably in bringing his body back, in presenting the body, in
Yeah.
I think the body was treated with honor.
Okay.
Like, killing him at all is honorable because your intent there was to not have him live as a
Not
slave.
have- Put back in chains. Which
And if the roles had gone different and you had just, like, maimed him horribly and then you killed him so he didn't suffer, also total Persona right there. But yeah, I'm giving you Persona for this one, I think, because the after effect was an honorable procession and an honor. You honored
Crap.
the fighter.
I just realized a really good way to have gotten the deeds.
Talk about
It's
it
not
after.
possible with the dice, but throw the match would have gotten the deeds, because it would have forced you guys to turn around and the war would have ended peacefully.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would have.
If you had thrown the match, you would have totally got deeds there.
Yeah, you'd also be dead.
You'd also
Yeah.
not be in.
I'd also spend a persona to somehow not be dead. See?
Well, I think I said that when
And
you
also that would totally break like 3 of my beliefs and stuff, and I get multiple.
Yeah.
on a break. I think you were gone, Primarch. But I said if during the match, Ernest comes into conflict and breaks out of his loyalty belief against Lord Edwayne because there's some sort of conflict, and then loses the match or something like that, and he plays out why this is happening, that is a deeds to me.
It was just over too quickly. We couldn't get into the dynamics of
any good fight.
And in that example, in that example, the sacrifice would have been you lost the loyalty trait and the 4th belief.
Yeah, and I've been like heavily considering when is a good moment when and if Edwayne is no longer loyal or Ernest is no longer loyal to Edwin, but that hasn't come up, and he hasn't really been tempted in that regard yet.
It's weird because like your belief before was like as long as the coin keeps flowing.
I switched it.
Okay,
if you remember. So we can talk about that after the stream.
Okay.
His new belief is, I am a weapon to be used. When following orders, my actions are not my own, but rather of my master, Lord Edwayne. I believe I pursued that belief with constantly, even when after I was the war hero, asking Lord Edwayne.
I think you get persona for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll concur.
So yeah, first let's talk about my other beliefs. I want to leave my past on the continent behind. To do that, I need to feel welcomed for who I am by the people of Mathsquad, rather than for being Lord Edwayne's representative. I'm going to switch that around.
I think you pursued that.
Here's the thing. Is word ever going to get out to the people of Mathsquad that you saved all their lives?
I immediately went to get some guards, and I'm keeping the lady alive to give, like, testimony, so...
I think so. I think we can do that without ratting out the queen, or the duchess.
Okay, so yeah, you that tale will be told around town, and yes, you are generally accepted as someone that did a really good thing. And
okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm still a good person, and according to local tradition, the champions will settle this war peacefully and without further bloodshed, so I'll fight and win with a clear conscience. So, since I didn't sacrifice anything, and I do have a clear conscience, I'm for persona. None of my instincts got me in trouble. Well, no, never get no sleep got me in trouble. Well, that was last session, if it even did anything last session. Traits. Well, I never mechanically called upon traits. Stubbornness, no backlooking over. No, I think that is it for me.
Okay.
Alright, so my beliefs. Ernest's actions has embarrassed Edwayne. He must provide a remedy to Valerie. Kind of pursued this. We didn't have the scene I need to get a persona off it, though. So I think that's fate.
Okay, it totally depends on what we're doing next session, whether that's fate or persona. Because I mean, if you wanna say that, off screen you handle all that shit, that's persona. But
we're talking about Mirror Shades style flashbacks, right? How many flashbacks were we having?
I thought it was one.
Yeah, we can flash back at some point next session.
Are you interested as GM as playing out what Valerie wants?
No, that was.
Yeah. With the appropriate enough time to think about what he wants, sure. Because I don't really have him. I don't really have his headspace yet. So
I do want that to be my next downtime scene. So I'll take a fate.
Okay.
I did say already that I freed him, and I negotiate with him to see what it is he needs. Okay. Next belief, an ancient evil has followed me from Entomonaki. I must confront it and find out what it wants. I just didn't get to that part.
Yeah, there was going to be something about that, but that damn fight ended so fast that it didn't happen.
Right. I still have, part of the reason why Edwayne is having that feast there is to draw out whatever is chasing him.
Okay.
So that may be something for next session, but right now there's no Artha for that. Next belief, my Kutchin Duchess Natalia Ortova has proven herself a poor ruler. Should convince her to accept banishment, which apparently happened without a roll.
Yeah, it happened. She was bound to do what you want because of fictional positioning. There was no roll.
Okay.
So yeah, you got that.
All right.
Because that's a thing, right? I mean, you can fictionally position yourself so that the
here's-
roll doesn't need to happen,
Here's the
but you can
argument,
still hit the belief.
is that
It's
you
like,
could
I
argue that you
got
need a
fine
roll
sleeping.
so that she accepts it. Like, if she denies, like, internally and resists that she is banished, then you would say, not yet. Or, I need a roll to do that. But that's not what you're doing. Okay. Okay. Instincts. Ask the story behind any... I don't think I got that one. Always find a use for a good man. Edwin definitely does not believe Matron was a good man. When surrounded by darkness, light a fire. There was no darkness. I think that I used my Your Lordship trait when I changed the story there, because Edwin is like trying to banish his cousin and keep her like involved in the story because of like they're both nobles and they have the same blood and all that.
That's a tough one.
Like, that's entire narratively, but I could have just like off with her, headed her too.
Yeah. You acted within the confines of how you've described nobles to act on Terminugnia. There seems to be a lot of like binding
also Ed
traditions.
Wayne is like the whole reason he is giving anything to Valerie at all is because they're both nobles, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of your motivation. Yeah, a lot of your motivation for doing things has been because you are a noble, and this is how nobles act.
Right.
So yeah, I'll give that one to you.
Is that a fate or persona?
That's a fate, I believe, for tapping a trait and doing that.
And I don't think any other traits apply, really. Like, maybe Prestige Seeker, but not really.
Yeah, if you would have played up a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what?
We'll do Prestige Seeker next time.
No. Take a fate for it retroactively, because we didn't touch on the fact that last time when you were bringing all these goods and everything to the towns.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You were doing it entirely so that they would give you deference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe loyalty.
I'm cool with that. That makes sense to me. All right, and that's it for my bits.
Okay.
Awesome.
So that's everything. I think any mold breakers, humors, anything like that. Oh, guys, everybody take a persona point for ending the war.
Nice.
I
am now fat with Artha.
Yeah, I have 7 personas.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna need some duels of wits and things to sink those things in.
I'm curious. When a player captures the mood of the table perfectly and further drives the story onward, 1 persona point is awarded. Moments like great speeches, desperate decisions, or gruesome revenge fall into this category. This is a tough award to get, as a player really must go above and beyond in his role-playing. I'm curious if the whole, processional with the body counts as that?
I mean...
Yeah, that was...
It's supposed to be very tough to get, but I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
I can't
think
roleplay much better than I am, so.
I'll agree with you there, because like this obviously didn't happen, but showing deference to the fallen warrior definitely led to those soldiers honoring you rather than bad things happening while you were in the city. Like, nothing bad happened because the soldiers weren't going to go against you because you were being that shining example.
Right, but
Like-
this goes beyond like in story almost. Like this is like capturing
Yeah.
the moves at the table. Like we had this
Yeah.
epic thing just sort of like fall short, but then like
And the epic
more
funeral
epic.
session happened. Yeah.
And so that's also why I kind of want to. I think because I think it was a good description of everything.
Yeah, and if you go to Ernest's traits and you invoke Stoic on that, he wouldn't be having it wouldn't be an action involving a lot of words. It would be him showing these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So yeah, I could go for that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
For those not knowing, I didn't say it yet. This is the embodiment award. That's in the persona stuff.
Yes.
But
okay.
In lieu of deeds, I think you were closer to doing this. You were embodying a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, let's make a note of this exact instance for the trait vote. Honorable.
Yes.
That's true. That was
Yes.
this entire session.
Yes. And he also didn't appear very sickly during the duel.
No, I think that one's definitely going away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you just like
so we
or Primer, could you imagine like I go up to do this great surf and like and I collapse in a heap of phlegm.
Yeah, you could have invoked sickly on that hit and been like, yeah, it could have been that great if I wasn't sickly.
Except I want to get rid of sickly, so I'm not playing that at all. No.
I
We're
still
saying
think it's
we
wrong
could've.
to get rid of a trait like that for just ignoring it, but
Well, it's not like I think it's a trait you're supposed to ignore because it already gives you a permanent penalty, like the -1 health.
It's not necessarily ignoring it, like it's on the player to.
In wrestling, right? You're having a wrestling match. Someone punches you in the face, and you just ignore it. You keep coming. Like that's called no-selling it, and like you're no-selling the sickly trait. You're not ever using it.
Well, see, the thing is, like, I would have a problem. Like, I could enforce the sickly trait as a GM. I could be like, yeah, and Ernest, you're staying awake and you're doing this long march back, but man, is it taking a toll on you? But I don't want to do that. I think it's something that the player should invoke, not necessarily the GM.
Well, firstly, it was forced onto me as a player, and so as a player, I don't like it. And it was forced onto Ernest, so he is doing everything in his spirit to fight against that and overcome it.
That being said, you could have. There have been plenty of options where you could have totally played into it,
yes,
and gotten even more Artha.
Yeah,
but it would usually be Fate Artha. Sometimes it would be Persona.
Usually be Fate.
Sickly
Yes.
would not change the story completely.
Like here's
You
an
could
example.
use it-
Like you could have said, like after the fight that you won, you could have said, "Okay, I'm sickly. I collapse in a heap next to the guy, and they can't tell who won until they come over and look at us."
And
Like,
while I
that
could
wouldn't
have done
have
that,
ruined anything. It would have shown that you were sick, and you would have gotten.
well,
that might have not done it,
could
but
be.
I want to lose that because it limits my health, and so
Yeah.
I'm totally metagaming. I want that trait.
But that's
to
the
be
thing
voted
is like,
off.
Yeah.
If you just ignore a trait like that, it just seems really.
Ignore any trait.
He's
seems
not
counter
just
to the
ignoring.
spirit.
He's like going against it in every way.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, the sickly guy led armies and marched and rode sprinting on, like, galloping on horseback, and he's been doing more physical stuff than anyone. I'm specifically playing against the sickly. Like, I have the back-breaking labor as well as the same time as sickly. I have both of those traits, which is unusual.
No, I guess where you have to draw the line here for these types of traits, and sickly seems like something that it can be cured. But it depends on whether you drop sickly in the maimed category or the one-legged category, where like you don't just grow back a leg and get that trait voted off. Like,
Yeah, you just ignore
or do you lump it in with or do you lump it in with the like I'm an asshole trait, but now I'm being a nice guy, so I'm not an asshole anymore, and I drop that trait.
So like we could instead of voting it off, we could downgrade sickly to like whooping cough or something, like character trait, like he just has a bad cough all the time, or
another thing
some other sort of thing, like he always is like yellow skinned or something.
Maybe.
So what is, and I should know this, but what is worse, +1 ob or -1 d?
-1 d. +1 ob is worse than -1 d because a d is always half. There's a 50% chance, assuming it's black shade.
Okay.
The reason dice is worse in battle is because it'll incapacitate you faster. But for every other reason, an ob's worse is worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I was going to say we could tack an ob onto the roll and take the cap off with the next one. Like,
yeah, but that's actually
health rolls are at +1 ob, but you have no cap. So that's a little different than just the D, because you already lost the dice when you got the trait, and that's never coming back.
Yeah, I have to like rework to get the dice back. It's just the cap, really. That's the sickly.
Yeah. So I mean, is the cap worse than +1 ob on a health test? Knowing that you don't have to pass a health test to get the advancement. I mean, it's something we can think about for the next trait vote, and it's neither here nor there. But
my health is 3 right now, which
we're
means
like
the cap
40
doesn't
minutes
matter
over
at this time.
Yeah,
we are totally way over. Okay, well, I do want to talk after. Like, are we offline now? I think
we're still
on, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we're done, we'll talk about these, and then next session, let's present to the audience what we have, if we have come to an agreement about deeds.
I think
one thing that we did before was talk about examples in medieval and fantasy fiction and what moments would be worth deed points. We could do some more of that, but I have some specific ideas to talk about.
Okay. I feel like we've just reached an impasse on the deeds argument.
Sorry?
So I feel like we've just reached an impasse on the deeds argument.
It could be. I do want to talk about that, and then we can.
Yeah. It's such a damn situational thing that it gets a little ridiculous. But so next week there will be no Mathsquad Burning Wheel. One of our members cannot make it. We will resume as quickly as possible.
Yep. The following weekend might be weird because it's U.S. Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about scheduling and that kind of stuff. So I mean, if you're following the show. We will make an announcement probably on Twitter. Yeah, first of all, thank you for dealing with our bullshit all the time. We appreciate it. But yeah, we'll make an announcement probably on the Reddit boards, or we'll get a Twitter announcement out there when we're coming back.
Okay, and happy holidays,
thanks for watching.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes.
And have a good night.
And we'll see you next time. Keep that wheel burning.